Welcome to the Security++ Bootcamp Vault. In this series, we are going to walk through every single topic on the CompTIA Security Plus exam, one video at a time, until nothing on that test can surprise you. This is episode 1, and we are starting right where the exam starts. Security Controls. By the end of this video, you will know the 4 control categories, the 6 control types, and how to spot the trick questions that mix them up. Grab a coffee and let us get into it. Here is what the exam actually asks for. Objective 1.1 says, compare and contrast various types of security controls. Pay attention to those words, compare and contrast. The test will not ask you for definitions. It will describe something in a short story and ask you to figure out what kind of control it is. The good news, there are only 10 words you need. 4 categories: technical, managerial, operational, and physical, and 6 types: preventive, deterrent, detective, corrective, compensating, and directive. Learn these 10 words and this objective becomes free points. Every control question comes down to 2 simple questions. Question 1, who or what makes the control happen? That is the category. A firewall is run by a computer. A policy comes from management. Question 2, what does the control actually do about the threat? That is the type. Does it stop the attack, scare someone off, catch it, or clean up the mess afterward? And here is the key. Every control has both a category and a type at the same time. A firewall is technical, and it is preventive. When you get a question, your first move is to figure out which of those 2 questions is being asked. Category 1, technical controls. These are controls that a computer or a piece of software handles on its own. Think of a firewall dropping bad traffic, encryption scrambling your data, antivirus catching a bad file, an access list deciding who can open a folder. Here is the easy way to spot it. If a machine is doing the enforcing, it is technical. One thing trips people up. Just because software is involved does not automatically make it technical. The real question is whether the system enforces the rule by itself, with no person needed. Category 2, managerial controls. You might see these called administrative controls in older books. Same thing. These are the controls that happen on paper, in meetings, and in decisions. Risk assessments, security policies. Checking out a vendor before you sign a contract. The easy way to spot it. If the control is a document, a decision, or some kind of review that shapes how security is run, it is managerial. The exam loves to describe a quarterly risk assessment and ask what category it is. The answer is managerial, every time. Category 3, operational controls. These are done by people as part of their everyday work. The policy said what should happen. Operational controls are people actually doing it, running security training, following the steps in a change process, going through user accounts every quarter to see who still needs access. The easy way to spot it, a person doing a security task over and over. And here's where people get confused. Managers write the rules. That is managerial. People carry them out. That is operational. If the question shows people doing a security task on a schedule, it is operational. Category 4, physical controls. These protect actual places and actual stuff. Fences, bollards, and locks keep people and cars out. Badge readers control who gets through a door. Lighting and security guards cover the outside of the building. The easy way to spot it, if you can touch it, or it stops someone at a door or a fence, it is physical. One thing to watch. A badge reader has electronics inside, but its whole job is controlling a door, so the exam counts it as physical. Ask what the control protects, not whether it has a chip in it. Time for a checkpoint. Pause the video and pick your answer. A company reviews its risk register every quarter and updates its security policies based on what it finds. Which control category is that? A, technical. B, managerial. C, operational. D, physical. Remember the 2 questions. Who is making this happen and what is actually being done? Take a few seconds. The answer is on the next slide. The answer is B, managerial. Risk reviews and policy updates are decision-making work. They happen on paper and in meetings, not inside a system. Now, if you pick C, operational, because people are doing the review, here is the fix. Operational is people carrying out security tasks, like running training or checking accounts. Reviewing risk and rewriting policy is deciding how the whole program runs. That is management work. 1 checkpoint down, 2 to go. Now for the second axis, control types. There are 6 and they line up on a timeline. Before the attack, 3 types are doing their job. Preventive Controls block it. Deterrent Controls scare it off. Directive Controls tell your own people the right way to do things. During the attack, Detective Controls catch it. After the attack, Corrective Controls clean up the damage. And then there is one oddball off to the side. The Compensating Control. That is your backup plan when the control you really want is not an option. Keep this timeline in your head. Almost every question about types comes down to, when does this control act, and who is it aimed at? Type 1. Preventive controls stop the attack from working. Not discourage it, stop it. A firewall rule drops the packet. A disabled account cannot log in no matter what. A locked door stays locked without a badge. Full disk encryption means a stolen laptop is just a useless brick. The key word here is blocked. The attacker can try all they want, and the control shuts them down. Hold on to that word, because in a couple of slides we put preventive up against deterrent, and blocking versus discouraging is the whole difference. Type 2. Deterrent controls make an attacker think twice, but they do not actually stop anything. A sign that says this place is under video surveillance. A message on the login screen that says unauthorized access will be prosecuted. Cameras that are easy to see. Bright lights. None of that can stop someone who does not care. It just makes the attack feel riskier. Here is the tell. If the attacker could still go through with it, and the control only makes them nervous, it is a deterrent. This is the most tested idea in this whole objective, so we will drill it again in a minute. Type 3. Detective controls catch an attack while it is happening, or after it already happened. An intrusion detection system firing an alert. Someone reviewing logs and spotting failed logins at 3 in the morning. A motion sensor going off in the server room. Camera footage you look at after a break-in. Notice what detective controls do not do. They do not stop anything. And here is a one-letter trap the exam loves. An IDS detects, that is detective. An IPS with a P prevents, that is preventive. One letter, 2 different answers. Type 4. Corrective controls fix the damage after something bad happens. Restoring from backup after ransomware. Patching the hole the attacker got in through. Cutting an infected computer off from the network so it cannot spread. Wiping and reloading a hacked laptop. The tell is the timeline. The bad thing already happened, and this control is the cleanup crew. But watch out for patching. Patching on a normal schedule, before anything happens, is preventive. Patching in a panic because someone is actively using the hole, that is corrective. The timing in the question decides. Type 5. Compensating controls. Think of this as the substitute teacher of security. You use one when the control you actually want is not possible, so you put something else in place to cover the same risk. The classic example. You have an old server that cannot be patched because the company that made it is gone. So you put it on its own little piece of the network and lock down everything around it. That separation is standing in for the patch you cannot get. Here is the tell. The question will say something like, cannot be patched, or too expensive to replace. When the real fix is off the table, whatever fills in for it is compensating. Type 6. Directive Controls. This one is new in this version of the exam, so expect to see it. Directive Controls point your own people in the right direction. An acceptable use policy. Step-by-step procedures. A sign that says authorized personnel only. Required training. Now here's how you keep directive and deterrent straight, because both of them can literally be signs. A deterrent is aimed at the bad guy, and it works through fear. A directive is aimed at your own people, and it works through instructions. Just ask, who is this message for? If it is telling your own people what to do, it is directive. Let us settle the big one, head-to-head. Preventive versus deterrent. A preventive control takes away the attacker's ability to act. A deterrent takes away their desire to. The locked door does not care how brave the burglar is. The warning sign only works if the burglar cares. Quick test, 4 examples. A concrete post in front of the lobby. It physically stops a car. Preventive. A beware of dog sign with no actual dog. Pure mind games. Deterrent. A guard checking badges at the door. Actually stopping people. Preventive. That same guard just walking around where everyone can see him. Mostly deterrent. Ability versus desire. Burn that in. Checkpoint 2. An old server at a factory runs software that no longer gets patches. The company that made it went out of business, and replacing the server would shut down production. So the security team puts it on its own separate piece of the network with strict firewall rules. What control type is that separation? A. Corrective. B. Preventive. C. Compensating. D. Detective. Think about why the team chose to separate it in the first place. Pause now. Answer on the next slide. The answer is C. Compensating. Now you might say, wait, separating the network does block traffic. Should that not be preventive? Here is the thing. The question went out of its way to tell you the real fix. Patching is impossible. That sentence is the giveaway. When the control you want is off the table and something else steps in to cover the risk, that something else is compensating. If the question had just said, a company splits up its network to limit attacks, with no mention of a missing fix, then preventive would be right. Watch for the words cannot, unable, or not possible. Those words mean compensating. Now put the two axes together. Every type can show up in every category, and the exam loves examples from the boxes you do not expect. Let me read one row with you. Preventive. As a technical control, that is a firewall. As a managerial control, that is a background check policy for new hires. As an operational control, that is a guard checking badges. As a physical control, that is the lock on the door. Do not try to memorize all 24 boxes. Just memorize the 2 questions. Who makes it happen? That gives you the column. What does it do about the threat? That gives you the row. With those 2 questions, you can classify a control you have never even heard of in about 5 seconds. One more wrinkle the exam likes to test. The same control can be a different type depending on how it is being used. Take a security camera. Mounted where everyone can see it, it scares people off. That is deterrent. Its footage reviewed after a theft, that is detective. A security guard. Checking badges, preventive. Walking around in plain view, deterrent. Writing up what happened after an incident, detective. Backups. Setting them up ahead of time is smart planning, but restoring from them after ransomware is corrective. So when a question mentions a control, do not answer from memory of the object. Answer from what it is doing in that exact sentence. Before the last checkpoint, here is the trap list for this objective. Trap 1. Directive is new on this exam, and it likes to hide next to deterrent in the answer choices. Ask who the message is for. Your own people means directive. Trap 2. Compensating is not corrective. Corrective cleans up damage that already happened. Compensating fills in for a control you cannot have at all. Trap 3. Read whether the question asks for the category or the type. If it says category, the answer is technical, managerial, operational, or physical. If it says type, it is one of the 6. Answer the wrong list, and you miss a question you actually knew. Last checkpoint, and it is the nastiest one. Before users log into a government computer, a message pops up saying unauthorized access is a federal crime and violators will be prosecuted. What control type is that banner? A. Directive. B. Preventive. C. Deterrent. D. Detective. Careful. 2 of these answers are built to feel right. Think about who the message is aimed at and whether anything is actually being blocked. Pause now. The answer is C. Deterrent. The banner threatens consequences to scare off anyone who should not be there. It does not block anything, so it is not preventive. And it is talking to the would-be intruder, not giving instructions to an employee, so it is not directive. That is trap number 1 from our list. Now flip it. If the banner instead said, "Save your files to the shared drive and lock your screen when you walk away," that would be instructions for your own people, and Directive would win. A threat pointed outward makes this one deterrent. Let us lock it in. Categories answer who makes the control happen. Technical is machines. Managerial is decisions and paperwork. Operational is people doing the work. Physical is the real world. Types answer what the control does. Preventive blocks. Deterrent scares off. Detective catches. Corrective cleans up. Compensating fills in. Directive gives instructions. Every control has one of each, and how it is being used decides the type. And remember the three traps. Directive versus deterrent comes down to who the message is for. Compensating needs a real fix that is off the table. And always check whether the question wants the category or the type. That is Objective 1.1. Done. That is Episode 1 of the Vault. If it helped, do me a favor. Like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell, because this series really works best in order. Next time, Objective 1.2. The basics the whole exam is built on. The CIA triad, AAA, non-repudiation, gap analysis, and the topic this exam is most excited about, zero trust. That one is packed, and it sets up half the vocabulary for everything after it. See you inside the vault.